Hey, I want to thank you for taking the time to join us on this edition of Polk Place. I'm your host, Brian Lacey, and I have some friends coming back, talk a little bit about what they do and the importance in the community and the role that they play, and that is the Rath Senior ConNEXTions Center. And if we're talking Rath Senior ConNEXTions Center, going to be talking with Dr. Rosemarie Lamm, the Executive Director of the Rath Senior ConNEXTions Center. I want to thank you and welcome you to the show.
Thank you, Brian.
Also joining us is Gail Bagley, Rath Senior Summit Planning Committee Chair and Board Member. Welcome back.
Thank you, Brian.
So where you guys been? Haven't seen you since, I don't know, did we promote this last year?
Our scholars classes.
Yeah, we promoted that. But for those that might not have caught it, let's talk a little bit about the Rath Senior ConNEXTions Center. What exactly is it?
Well, Brian, the Rath Senior ConNEXTions Center started back in 2004 when I was a faculty at the University of South Florida. I obtained a grant to develop a program to integrate seniors with activities and education in our community, a much needed resource. With that, the university was totally supportive, and we started, and then the university left us. And so at that moment, I went out into the community and obtained a partnership with Lakeland Volunteers in Medicine, using some space with them and United Way. At that point, we developed services that basically provide seniors with information and education in classes that go on throughout the year, and also we even do some of it via the internet. Mm-hmm. And we also have a wonderful program called the Senior Summit, which you'll hear more about. Mm-hmm. And we also, when people call in to the Rath Center, they also get information about the other resources that are here in our community, such as the Park and Rec Department of the city and the activities they have, or the local Y, or VISTI, Volunteers in Service to the Elderly, and many, many, many other resources. So we are a center. We have a location at the College Heights Methodist Church in Lakeland. Mm-hmm. And so that's what we provide. And it's the Rath Senior ConNEXTions Center. Mm-hmm. You were so right by saying next. Yeah. So what's the next connection that we're going to make? And so that's what we do. And today, we're in the midst of our senior scholars classes, and we broke the ceiling. We're back to having as many students as we did prior to the pandemic.
One of the things that you mentioned, a lot of folks that you mentioned come in and do tapings with us. Lakeland Volunteers in Medicine, VISTI, those community partners that you have.
Yes.
What I'd like you to do is recruit more partners and help you fulfill your mission. Talk about some of the things that you could use.
Well, right now we are building some more volunteers to answer the phone, and we get calls regularly. And of course, there are always emergencies. Not always, but many, many times, because that's the human nature. We wait till we are in need of these things. And so we have to start from scratch and reach out into the community and see what we can help this individual with. And so we need volunteers to be a little bit on the expert side of knowing your community and what's available for people. And we do a very good job of that. And yes, we need to increase more partners into the scheme of helping seniors.
One of the things I wanted to compliment you on, I called yesterday to talk to you ladies, and I talked to Charlie.
Oh, Charlie.
I talked to Charlie for about 5 minutes, and that was one of the most pleasant conversations.
I told you.
It was great. I love that guy.
He's wonderful. Charlie is our main volunteer. Yeah. I say I work for Charlie. Yeah. Of course, he gives me the challenging cases, but Charlie has helped. I cannot begin to tell you how many people he's helped. He's been named Volunteer of the Year. He's a member of the RSVP program, and he's many, many honors. And he also got the Area Agency on Aging honor of being a Citizen Volunteer of the Year.
Within your mission, you talk about helping those 50 plus
Yes.
remain independent, but the word that I love that you use is dignity. Talk a little bit about the importance of what you're trying to put together, that independence and dignity.
Well, you know, as we progress through the age cycle, we lose some abilities. That's just natural. That's physiology. I know you're a bike rider, and I know exactly where you're coming from. But we learn that, well, what's the next step? How do I make up for that diminishment? And along with that recognition, we need to listen actively to those seniors and where they're at in that process of aging, and still give them the honor of dignity. What does that mean? That means not just helping them, but understanding. Mm-hmm. And so we need to honor that with knowledge. And that knowledge is so precious. And that's what we pass on with another program where every second Tuesday of the month we have experts from our community and from elsewhere come in and talk about what a certain process is. For instance, the Alzheimer's Association mm-hmm. presenting a program on what is early signs of dementia, et cetera, and what is available for help for those seniors. That's just an example.
Now, Gail, something Dr. Lamm said was knowledge, and you guys are always trying to help teach your customers, your end users, the things that they need to maintain a quality of life. And one of the things that you got coming up is the Senior Summit. Let's talk a little bit about the beginnings of that and how it's grown.
Well, the beginnings of the Senior Summit were before it was a Senior Summit. And Dr. Lamm had another program called Journey Through Life. And that was the predecessor to it had gone through different names. We had a round table, and then it was the Gray Tsunami, but we landed on Summit a few years ago because we have experts in the community, the best of the best, come and have a panel of speakers at the Rath Senior Summit to address the most important issues on aging. This year we're emphasizing proactive aging. So not a lot of people want to learn about what's wrong with aging. They'd like to know especially with last year we had our key speaker was from the Alzheimer's Association, and people need to know what's ahead. And if they've got family members or they're a caregiver for somebody with dementia, they want to know what resources are available. Are there any new medications? What about caregiving needs? So education is big with the Rath Senior Summit.
Well, with the Senior Summit, the 2026, how is it different per se, from other things like
a health fair?
Yeah, like a health fair.
Very good question.
Yeah. Oh, yes.
Very good question. We see a lot of health fairs. Churches, 55 plus communities have a lot of health fairs. Are wonderful because it gets people. If it's a 55 plus community, their residents get to go through the rec hall and see all the vendors and learn what they do. There's a good number of like home care agencies, maybe hospice will be there with a table with information, and the Alzheimer's Association, quite a few nonprofits that offer services to older adults. So people in that community get to be in one place and get all this information by visiting the table. Maybe they'll get a giveaway like pens and things like that. And they're wonderful because you get people that want to learn more, have that information available. The summit that we offer, the Rath Senior Summit, is an annual educational event. The emphasis is on education. We have, as I said, the local experts that come. The location is at the First Presbyterian Church on Lake Hollingsworth. So the focus isn't on giveaways. The focus is on
information.
Yep.
You're going to hear the experts talk about proactive aging.
With an event such as this, what kind of numbers are you expecting? And then also, should people RSVP, and how should they do as such?
Oh, that's a great question. I'll address the first question, which is we've had over 200 in attendance at the last couple of, it just gets better and better. So over 200 were in attendance last year. plus the exhibitors. We call them exhibitors, not vendors, because they offer a lot of information. There's no need to register. If somebody calls Charlie and says we'd like to register, fine, we put them on a list, but we want people to have the flexibility of showing up. Sometimes they just grab a neighbor and come. So that's not, but the RSVP, if they would like to do that, would be to just call the Rath Center at the number on the screen that you're going to show and tell Charlie you want to go. It's not necessary.
Let's talk vendors and exhibitors. We don't need to name it all, but what are some of the things that folks might see?
Well, many of our exhibitors will also be sponsors, and we're very grateful to the sponsors, which I'm not going to name right now because I don't want to miss anybody. But for example, Lake Morton Senior Living is a sponsor, and they're also going to be catering our lunch, which you're going to ask me about too. We have a number of nonprofits like the Alzheimer's Association, the Rath Center, and more so for-profit who are having a table there. Are you asking me what, like, for examples of who would be there?
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, well, there's going to be over 25 exhibitors there, and I don't want to miss, and I'll miss a lot.
Yeah, just name a couple of them.
Yes, all right. So
don't have to drop too many names.
Thank you. So Coleman Stead is one of our top sponsors this year. The same with Senior Helpers. They're both home care agencies.
Yep, I'm familiar with them, especially their holiday work too.
Exactly.
Yes.
Lake Gibson Village is another one. Advent Health is another one. These are different levels of sponsorship also. So we're very grateful to the exhibitors, some of the ones that I just mentioned.
Oh, in a legal group. So
Montelaro Law, yes. So there's quite a few more.
Quite varied.
Yeah. So let's talk. I want to talk venue, and I want to talk. When you got 200 people there, it's going to be a pretty big venue, and I love the church because every Veterans Day and Memorial Day they do something that's near and dear to my heart out front.
Yes,
but talk a little bit about the venue and how long the people can expect to be there.
Thank you. At first, I'd like to say how many years it took for us to find this venue. It's at the First Presbyterian Church on Lake Hollingsworth, and it's the perfect location for us because it's centrally located. It's got this wonderful Loudon Hall, which we fill up with all of our people and our speakers. It's got very good parking. It's and we have tons of volunteers that are there to help guide people in and go to their table and find the speakers and orient them to the restrooms and everything. So the location it's just been amazing. We've been, I think, having our summit there, the Rath Senior Summit, for the past at least 5 years.
5 years.
But before that, we were trying this and trying that, and there was always something that we needed to tweak and improve. It's a great location.
Let's talk a little bit about presenters. I know we're not all in stone yet, but let's talk about some of those presenters.
Sure, that's why I'm going to need to look at my notes because at yesterday's planning meeting, we not only finalized the list of presenters, but we put them in order of their presentation. So just so you know who we're going to be having talking about proactive aging. Number one is Dr. Rosemarie Lamm, speaking on behalf of the Rath Senior ConNEXTions Center. Our keynote speaker is Dr. Lindsay Hastings Spain from Lakeland Regional Health. And she has previously spoken at our monthly meeting at the Rath Center, and she's
wonderful.
Excellent. She's an amazing speaker and just so full of, you just want to keep asking questions all day long. Shannon Lyons is a pharmacist with Central Florida Healthcare. She'll be speaking also. People need to hear from a pharmacist about health in general, but especially about aging.
And one of our most popular speakers.
Marie Adams is a clinical nurse with Chapters Health. Very important for us to have her on the panel. And Kim Reynolds is an occupational therapist with our local Westminster Senior Living.
And I'd like to interject that as a member of Gail's committee, they keep admonishing me and saying, we can't be too intellectual. We have to now. And so I just want to say, we have a wonderful ability to take very complex knowledge and bring it so it's understandable to the people who attend.
And you're talking complex knowledge, and I'm worried about lunch.
They are too.
Let's talk a little bit about lunch, and my favorite thing about that lunch.
Okay, we learned again over many years of not having lunch that attendance would be picked up if we offered food of some sort.
Yeah.
And we finally got around to lunch, a whole, not just a
banana.
a bagel in the morning
Yeah.
or juice or something, lunch. So, and we've been through several, during the pandemic it was difficult to organize this because there were a lot of restrictions on being inside. Lake Morton Senior Living has provided the most amazing lunch. It's a beautiful lunch. We've got vegan or vegetarian options, and we've got other options for people that aren't vegetarian. And we have this lovely arena, I'll say layout in the church with the round tables. And last year we delivered the lunch to people at their tables, and and it's free. No charge. So you know about seniors. You've been through a lot. Yeah. So free lunch is a big deal.
Exactly.
And it's not only is it free, it's delicious. It's delicious. Lake Morton Senior Living does an amazing job with that.
Well, ladies, it's always a pleasure having you come in and talk a little bit about what's going on. Sometime I'd like you to come in and maybe bring in, some folks' success stories that we don't know. I mean, I'll continue to hit on your events, but I'd really like is success stories. Bring in some folks that really have benefited from your service. So come back and see me, would you please?
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
Thank you, Brian.
Thank you, Brian.
The Rath Senior ConNEXTions Center invites you to their Senior Summit 2026, a fun, informative, and empowering day designed to support healthy aging and active living in our community. Join them from 9 a.m. to 2 p.m. Tuesday, May 12th at the First Presbyterian Church of Lakeland, 175 Lake Hollingsworth Drive in Lakeland. For more information, go to therathcenter.org or follow them on Facebook at facebook.com/Rath Senior Center. If you enjoyed that episode of Polk Place, I invite you to like, share, and subscribe to the channel, and even check out the next one.